It's probably the longest track you'll get your chops around. This is a circuit and a half. This is the circuit before the Nordschleife became the circuit that was the endurance track of them all. This is where the Virginia Targa was run on iRacing year after year after year. And this is a relic long forgotten. The Grand West is in full view tonight. It is round 2 of the RTA Virtual Motorsport's GR86 Series. And we're here at Virginia International Raceway and the Grand West layout of the circuit. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone watching around the world. My name is Jake Sperry, and alongside me for this one is Craig King. On cameras for us today is Daniel Costello, and he's using the cameras provided by Dougie Beard. But the Grand West layout has one corner that might be unmentionable, has a lot more corners, which makes it a near 7-kilometer real estate affair that lasts in these machines almost 3 minutes long. Let's take a look at how this track stacks up with our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Virginia International Raceway. Only a short trip away from the state's border with North Carolina, this track has had the rare blessing of being resurrected from the dead. After closing for a quarter century, once it was rebuilt, it quickly began to draw major sports car series to its halls. The new owners didn't skimp on refurbishing the place either. An impressive 5 versions are available on iRacing with a range between 1 and 4 miles in length between them. With that much pavement, the plethora of corners have earned some colorful nicknames. The horseshoe kicks things off right away with a never-ending double apexer that tends to suck the greedy out into its runoff. Later on, the climbing S's force you to thread the needle before spitting you out into the steep drop at South Bend. Then, of course, there's Oak Tree, which sadly no longer sees its namesake landmark on the inside of the turn, but still retains its frustrating difficulty. Let's not forget one of the scariest obstacles at the end of the lap, the roller coaster. The incredible speed drivers carry up into this blind braking zone is what causes it to require such immense bravery to get the most out of the lap. While passing can be tricky here, the long backstretch nicknamed Madison Avenue and the lengthy front stretch do tend to offer enough of a draft that you can still give a go at a pass. Still, track position is usually an important factor in most races. With the picturesque backdrop of the Appalachians around them, fans are not left wanting when they come to watch drivers face off at this historic track. It's no wonder the circuit has found success in its second chance at life.
Now, the American way of counting corners makes this circuit very interesting. It is, in reality, of what I could count, a 35-turn circuit here, Craig. It's marked down on the iRacing system as 26, but the map that I'm looking at marks it down as 24 turns. This is a track which has a lot of changes of direction, and that's going to put a lot of emphasis on getting the line right.
Yeah, and not only that, it's also got a lot of elevation changes during those corners, so expect a lot of the weight coming and going on the cars, most notably that hairpin on what would be the back straight. That's the part we want to keep our eye out there, because this little infill section, the Grand West layout, is something that's not run a lot nowadays in racing. So what happens is you take that downhill hairpin and then you're on a track that's almost like you're on a slope, and that's really tough. You go through more S's and more elevation changes. The name of this track is S's to me. You can see it on that map straight away. You probably count there about 5 different sets of chicanes, and it does provide a lot of challenges. The roller coaster, because of the way the track layout goes today, you are almost going at it at a different angle than you're used to. So you can take more speed into the roller coaster. But you know what a roller coaster is like. You take more speed, that means you've got more speed down the hill. And of course, when you get to the hog pen, a lot of cars will lose it there and go wide. Now, Jake, we did see a lot of cars last week at Willow Springs go wide on that corner. It's going to be unforgiving, more unforgiving than Willow Springs, because this is grass. This isn't kitty litter. If they go off, they're going to have themselves a little bit of a problem. And of course, with these cars, a lot of these places are going to be a lot of full throttle here, and it is going to have to be a little bit of control on that throttle, and just make sure you keep the steering smooth, because it's a hot one out there today.
It is a hot circuit, and that's going to be putting drivers in a little bit of issues out there. 41 degrees centigrade out there on track, so yeah, it is a little bit hot. This is part of the islet, though, of Virginia, because you have to drive into the Carolinas to get into this circuit. And we're about a mile away from the border here with the International Raceway. But every time you go out and you drive this circuit, it is cool. It is fantastic. Let's take a little look at where everything stands, though, championship-wise, heading through what is the opening round of the season. Sean McGoldrick has that control of the championship, 54 points, says he is good, with Peter McCann in second and Sean McClements in third. But Sean will have a little bit of help today in terms of driving and getting his points. Robert Moore will be fourth, with Ian May fifth currently. Then it's Rory O'Shea and Lawrence de Sosa sixth and seventh, both being very consistent. Adam Dowling eighth overall in the championship, with John McDonald ninth, and Evan Walsh rounding out the top 10 here, Craig.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, because the gaps don't look so big after the first week. But of course, remember, we had quite a topsy-turvy final race last week, so it does provide a lot of differences. And to be fair, let's just go over those details, because we're in qualifying right now, the 15-minute qualifying. That will set the grid for the first race of the night. It's a 15-minute race. And when you think about the track length being almost 3 minutes long, it's not a lot of time to get going there. And then race 2 is going to be shorter at 10 minutes long. And of course, that will set the grid for the final race. But the top 8 get inverted. So the reverse grid there will always be interesting. We've seen a lot of drivers struggle if they have a good second race, usually the final race of the night is a little bit of a challenge for them. Now, of course, there is a drive-through penalty at 15x. There's a disqualification at 20x. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, Jake, but something tells me we may see a couple drivers having to go into the pits for a drive-through.
We might do today. This is the sort of circuit where it can put those drivers in a bit of a pickle. One of the first circuits on the iRacing service, VIR, 107 Fahrenheit temperatures, not much wind to speak of, and Rory O'Shea currently on the top of the timing stands with a 2:52.9, and this is what you certainly sense. This is the part of the circuit that everyone knows. The run-up, of course, to the immortalised Oak Tree Corner used to be there in the iRacing service. That got removed with the brand new track update that went around this place. But now onto Madison Avenue, down the hill, and then climbing back up it again. He's actually going to pull over to one side and say, you know what, I can't improve on this lap, and that was my final lap out there. But let's go to Wingfei Chan, for example, heading through that brilliantly named corner, which is very difficult for us to say, not because it's a difficult name to say, but because it is just very difficult for any professional broadcaster to say a corner like that. But now you're into the snake, this brilliant left and right, which really goes through, or actually it's the spiral and then the left, flicking on through. You got the fish hook, which comes along on the right-hand side. You ignore it up over the crest of the hill, but it's because you've got 4 very tough S's section corners where you have to be single file through this section. And I think this is the only layout of a circuit that I have seen, Craig, that passes 3 separate pit lanes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think to myself. Silverstone's got 2. That 2 is usually what happens here, but because of the nature of the track being used as well, the SCAA runoffs as well, they like to use quite a variety of tracks around here, so it's always nice to see the different tracks. Here he comes into the hog pen. He'll be one of the last drivers to set a lap time, keeps it clean. I wanted to make a note there. He's going up, down into turn 18A and B, up to turn 19. And you could just see there's not a lot of movement you need to make there, but you just saw how unsteady that car was. He'll come across the line. It will not be faster. It's a 2:55.619. Won't be faster than his fastest time. It just goes to show, though, one mistake, and look at that time he lost.
Yeah, he lost a lot of time there on his lap time that went through, and he would be hoping that he had a little bit more to it. Sean Hegarty will be out of time. It is a reduced field here today around this VIR circuit. Not everybody who is brand new, is going to be on this. But Rory O'Shea does have the fastest time. 2:52.947 will have Peter McCann alongside on the front row. Robert Moore and I believe Dylan McClements, I believe it is, who's in for Sean in 4th position, with Jamal Gandor 5th and Ian May in 6th place. It is then Evan Walsh and Tony Stack 7th and 8th. Wingfei Chan and Sean Hegarty will round out the top 10. Just the 4 drivers beyond that, so no need to hand it over. It's Lawrence de Sosa, John McDonald, Gary Corcoran and Martin McGonigal who are making up the grid. The grid could form incredibly quickly, though, with a reduced numbered running here today. We're only waiting for Tony Stack to get onto the grid and then Martin McGonigal, and we're already in a position where we could be ready to go. The opening 2 corners are key in terms of how you want to go about your business. You've got that fast-flowing right-hander to open things up, and then the left hooks, the NASCAR bends, all of those corners are going to be pretty much as you want it. Watch out, though, for drivers looking to make the hero's move early on. Lights on then for race 1, 15 minutes on the clock, lights out, and let's get ourselves then underway for racing action. There's a big difference in terms of the starts then on the front, because Martin McGonigal already done from this race. Rory O'Shea gets a good launch off of the front and takes himself then backwards into second, because Peter McCann had an even better one off at the start. Robert Moore in third, then you got McClements and Walsh 4th and 5th, racing each other then to the NASCAR bend.
And Rory O'Shea's going to have a little bit of a drive here, and that was a little bit of initial D. He managed to survive, and everyone gets around him. They call that the NASCAR bend because the NASCAR drivers, when they came here once, struggled, not in NASCAR racing, but in general sports car racing, and you can start to see Rory O'Shea kind of taking a page out of that NASCAR book.
Yeah. So he is now starting to realise, okay, that's troubles early on. That'll be the cold tyres. Then off of the early stages, a rear-wheel drive car like this is going to be there. Jamal Gandor trying to eye up that 4th place through the snake and up through the second lot of S's here, looking towards that south bend. Such a committed left-hand bend through this section, trying to rally it down the hill and then back up it again, looking to attack, and the best form of defence is good offence here for Evan Walsh. He's got his eyes on McClements as he wants to go through at the oak tree.
Yep, great move there. Sometimes it's a double apex hairpin in some respect, but you take so much speed into turn 11. When you get to turn 12, the oak tree itself, you really have to slam on the brakes there, and it's about keeping as much speed as you can. And you saw a mistake there from McClement. Allows Walsh to make a move here. He'll take the inside for turn 13, and just like that, McClements will decide it's not worth it. Meanwhile, behind, Gandor goes around, 3 cars come together, and they all make it safe.
How on earth did they all make it safe there? Ian May somehow still has a car. Wingfei Chan's going on. Oh, someone isn't safe though. That is Robert Moore with a big off, and a very unfortunate one at that. He was trying to get past Peter McCann on the inside and effectively ran himself out of road. So your race leader there, McCann, got the elbows out earlier. I'm not sure Robert Moore is going to be very happy about that. I believe he is shaken and stirred.
Yep, that's not what he wants to see. I want to just keep an eye on Evan Walsh. 5 positions made up so far. Gary Cochran made up 6 positions, but we're looking at McClements here trying to battle Walsh there, and Walsh is trying to hold on. Here we go. The different line I was talking about as they hit the roller coaster. And you just start to see you take so much speed in. In some respects, this layout gives you a better approach into the roller coaster, now into the hog pen. One mistake here could be very crucial, and I see Gandor's taking too much of the curve behind, but in front it's looking clean. McClements may have a run here.
I'll tell you what, give credit to the top 6. They're all together at the front of this field, and then they form a secondary pack of 6 just behind that. McClements looking for the move up to second position here. Evan Walsh covering it off as they head to the horseshoe to open things up. And the John Player's special car of Ian May is now going to have to look behind him at Rory O'Shea, who wants to find that pass through to move back up into that 5th position. But no dice there at the moment. Still going to have to play single file, especially up through this next section of road.
Yep, they come out of the left hook, and now they will hit the snake. This is a little bit of high speed here, already on the throttle. Going to be very tough if they can make any moves here. They're just going to have to set themselves up. It's tough to make an overtake when you get to the top here of the South Bend, but you will see drivers will probably use it to set themselves up. It's a little bit of setup at this track, especially when you've got the back straight. You use it to your advantage. McClement sees it. Drivers trying to weave, trying to find a different line. Seeing the dirty air. Rory O'Shea catching a little bit of the grass. He looks to be looking for a move, but he can't make it. In May, just in the background, goes for the defense. And that just shows you just one mistake, set yourself up. And hello, Lawrence.
Where are you going, buddy? And he's got a bit of friendly company. Also finding a way off. That would be Wing Fei Chan. Also off the road, and I think it's two separate incidents. Wing Fei grabbing the grass, followed swiftly by De Sosa. Now here's what happened to Robert Moore. He got himself in the grass and really ran out of road there, trying to catch it in an unconventional place.
Yeah, and it just looked like you just tried to get on the throttle. Things can happen. And hello, is that Rory O'Shea just going off there? He overcooked it there, as you just see in the background. Rory O'Shea going off again here, having a little bit of an issue. That's that slope I was talking about. Just catching the drivers off there, probably taking a little less steering as they want, but up front, a little bit of a push there. Gandor is saying, come on, Evan, let's make a move here. Let's try and make a move. McClement will look for it. I saw a tap of the brake from McClement. He realized how tight this section goes. There was 6, now they're 5.
Now they are 5, and this is a reason why it's a difficult section of the track. It is the Patriots section of the circuit. The full infield section is known as the Patriots layout. Why? Because you have to be as sticky as Bill Belichick in New England to get yourself around it. That is why it makes it such a difficult corner. Down the hill, though, out of the roller coaster, they go for their second lap forward, and they know with 9 minutes or so on the clock, they've got to be very alert to it. But this front 5, they know they just have to sit down and wait and say, you know what, this is still going to be a case of biding your time. Not so good back there in 6th place, a little bit off the road. I believe went Gary Corcoran, and here comes the chance from those behind.
Yep, here they come. They're in their own little battle. And hello, 1 second. Rory O'Shea's going to try and take this 3 wide. And they're going to go 3 wide into the horseshoe. And out of it, Rory O'Shea says, if you're not going to go for it, I'm going to take this. He put his cards on the table. He went for the Hail Mary, and it worked.
It did work. And just like that, he moves himself back into 6th place. But it's not over yet. Troubles aplenty for Gary Corcoran, who manages to just about catch it at the cost of 3 extra places lost. That's Sean Hegarty who's through, and now it's on for 2nd position overall because Jamal Gandor here is really searching for a way around Evan Walsh. He's looked left, he's looked right. Is he going to have to lift out of it? There's almost overlap there as they now rush through the S's.
You know, I just realized he took an unoptimal line there through the S's, and it did cost him a couple tenths because he was looking for a line, tried to look for a place to put his nose. There was nowhere to go, and all of a sudden he's having a little bit of a struggle here. This could allow McClements to make a move, but let's see how strong this run is. A little bit of a slide from Walsh there, but he is on the back of McCann. Gandor, best defensive attack, as Jake said. He's going to hold off McClements here. This could be very good. On board with McCann. Where does he want to go here? Turn 13 has caught multiple cars out so far. Let's see if it catches another one.
Why? Because it's, you turn 13. That's the sort of corner it is. As now going through, that's as comfortable as you want it there for the top 5. Nobody really finding themselves in a world of hurt around it at that section of circuit as they now hit the spiral on this 3rd lap. They now get this left, right in the long 180 degree left-hander. 2 takes the steering wheel out wide for Evan Walsh. He's really going to have to try and make something happen now because he's at risk of losing ground through this Patriot section of circuit.
Yeah, that dirty air playing havoc right now in these Toyotas through this, and up they go now. 19A, 19B, back onto the main course. They are now hunting it down. Welch kind of has a bit of a breather this lap because of what happened to Gandor, but you know Gandor is just waiting for this. But it's what's interesting as well, these top 5, they're about a second and a half between all of them. They have managed to keep that pace away from the rest of the pack. They are still battling themselves, but it is just a question of how much battling can they do. They go around one more time. They're going to be starting lap 4, a possible 6. Maybe just get that 6th lap in. We'll wait and see. It does say 6 minutes left on the race, so I think we may get 2 more.
We might get 2 more. It's going to be really close. I think we actually are going to get maybe 3 more laps here out of it, the way they're driving. Rory O'Shea with the fastest lap of the race. And this is going to be something where I think everyone's going to be looking around at their fuel gauges going, have we actually put enough fuel in the car? We're still going to have to go another 6.5 kilometers when the checker flag drops. It's going to be one of those races. Reminds you really here, Craig, of a race where you get one of those races where it goes, okay, you do the time plus 1 lap.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's one of those formats of racing, which I kind of do prefer. Like to see races like that, and this is what they're trying to do. Meanwhile, in the backfield, you've got Sean Haggerty there. He is trying to battle John McDonald there. You start to see he's right on the back. He's going to look for a move, but again, it's so tough around this part of the track to see if you can make a move. Nowhere to go. The car in front, he's not making defensive weaves there. That is literally trying to set himself up onto the racing line, and all of a sudden, any pace that you get through these S's is negated when you come down here to the South Bend, and around they will go to the Oak Tree. And Haggerty there really trying to find a way. And has he gone too wide? I think he's gone too wide.
He might be trying to open up the exit. Watch for what it says on the side of Sean Haggerty's car. It says, "Go on, my son," as he tries to get past the Potato Nation machine. Go on, as he now will be on the outside, heading to the 13th corner, the most unlucky for some out there on the road. Is there going to be a chance as Jamal Gandor's now side by side, looking for 2nd position here, heading to the spiral, as now Walsh defends it on the inside, just about gets it down the hill, and on the brakes, just about keeping it once more in range of Phil McCann. Go on there, trying to get it past John McDonald. McDonald having none of it. They'll fight side by side through the entirety of this spiral, and Lawrence de Sosa will now sit on the back and wait.
De Sosa's got the popcorn ready. He's looking at a fantastic battle. What a great battle there from McDonald and Haggerty to go side by side when we saw the leaders opting against it, and they went side by side with some fantastic battle. And now De Sosa, he said he wasn't going to be Mr. Consistent this season. He was going to be and taking the risks, and you start to see he's on the back of McDonald right now. He's going to use everything he can to see what he can do. To the roller coaster they go. Will he set himself up here? There's not a lot of places to make overtakes down here. It looks like he'll be setting himself yet again for the front straight. I'll tell you what, Jake, apart from that overtake in the S's, we've seen every overtake set up on these 3 different straights.
Oh, yes, we have. And now here comes McClement thinking about 3rd place. And this would be on Gandor, who was thinking about victory not too long ago. All of a sudden might not have a podium in that Simsa eSports machine. Simsa off the road, Ian May at the horseshoe, finding out what makes it difficult. Remember, when you go off at turn 1, it's down the hill off camber to get back up, so you actually travel a lot further.
Yeah, and also, I always thought of it as almost like a line rot turn 1, but it just closes up so quickly. You can sometimes catch yourself out with how quickly that corner starts closing up. And I think that's maybe what happened there to Ian May. Evan Walsh now trying to push to McCann. Let's see how close he gets. The key here is how close can he hold on when they get to the South Bend. There isn't a braking marker there, so you have to just gauge it on feel. And a lot of these drivers probably don't know where the other driver's going to be hitting those brakes. We'll get to see a little tap of the brakes. Has Evan Walsh gone a bit too hard there? That was a very quick tap. Takes a quick off track there, uses the grass, keeps with it, and Gandor is going to try and use this to his advantage to really catch up here. He gets a great run, but so does Evan Walsh.
Yeah, and look at the run that's there. It means that Walsh has got a good chance there on the power, trying to duck back into the slipstream, trying to find that move that puts him up in front. He'll be on the wrong side of unlucky 13. out on circuit, and that's not going to do him any favors. They hit the brakes, but is there some overcooking? No, there's a double take going through from Walsh, which means that he couldn't quite get what he wanted out of the corner. Now he'll have to stay in line for the spiral with Gandor waiting. McClement's there in 4th position, and then Rory O'Shea's a further 2 seconds down the road. They're going to have to be brave. Someone's going to have to stick their elbows out here through the Patriot circuit.
Or you could have Peter McCann go wide at the exit there of turn 16, but he's unable to, Walsh is unable, to capitalize on that mistake on that very tiny straight that probably would have been able to make a move there. He can't do it, and now if you're McClement, you're thinking, come on, let's make a move here. If you're Gandor, you're thinking, I should be up in front. If you're Walsh, you're thinking, please let me go. This is like it's the highway in Virginia. There is nowhere to go. It is traffic blocked as they hit the roller coaster.
Yeah, for the penultimate time, we can confirm there'll be one more lap after this. There is Wing Fei Chan in the most beautiful Toyota AE86 livery I have ever seen. He is full tofu tax out there today. Sean Hegarty is now in that 10th position and will have some work to do. He'll be thinking about race 2 as that goes on, but at least for the moment, it is going to be now your white flag lap, your 1 lap left in race 1. McClements to the outside, trying to make this happen, but again, Gandor is better on the brakes.
Yeah, Gandor really gelling with this car, as we've seen from last week. The Simsa driver really putting his best work in at the moment, and he is pushing the pressure up. Walsh and McCann know that they can stay like this, but Gandor is going to look for an opportunity. And you've got to feel on the last lap here of the first race, Gandor will probably look for those chances just to get those extra points. Remember, 30 points for the winner of each race, and the P2 and P3 do get points as well. Points do mean prizes, but everybody wants those important points. Is anybody going to look for a move here as they come out of the snake to this mini straight before they hit 7, 8, and 9? Nobody's close enough. McClements is the closest, but there's nowhere for him to go. It's going to happen at the Patriot course.
It has to. The gap 0.4 of a second as they fan out. McClement's trying to get a bit of eye candy on what's in front in terms of the group of GR86s. They hit the brakes, they hit the oak tree, and now for the final time, the run on Madison Avenue to unlucky turn 13 becomes paramount once again. McCann holding the line well at this moment in time. I think Walsh is going to have to throw a Hail Mary here. He's going to have to try and find something, otherwise it's going to be very difficult. This is the last great place to make a move, and he'll try around the outside to get this run. If not, drive it off the exit when McCann struggles through, nose to tail, almost pushing the bumper in as he wants to try and get this sorted. Heading to the spiral. Is there going to be argy-bargy? No, there's going to be none of that then as they charge down the hill and then through the third left. Very defensive line taken by McCann on entry, and that might open Walsh up then for an opportunity through the 4 lefts and right that come along here. Right, left, right and left, and you've got to have power out the exit of this corner. Looks like Gandor's searching for something as well. Might have eyes on second. Roller coaster's going to be difficult now to find an overtake for Walsh, but he's going to have to throw an almighty move if he wants to get this done, and he's not got the line still. McCann has just been stoic at the front, been holding on, holding station, managing the gaps as and when, as and where, and has been doing it and okay through the hog pen and heading towards the line. Peter McCann will comfortably take this victory. The slipstream will not be enough for Evan Walsh to close, but it will be a close one.
Be a very close one, and it just goes to show the battle of margins there. Maybe could Evan Walsh make a move later on in that lap? Who knows? Ian May will come home in 7th, and DeSosa gets that P8 there. McDonald will take the 9th, and Sean Haggerty will finish 10th. What could have been, and I'll tell you what I want to point out, Evan Walsh gained 5 positions there. Peter McCann got the lead from the launch on the grid. Now they're neck and neck at the start of this next grid. I wonder what could happen in the run down to the first corner.
top four split by 0.7 of a second. Peter McCann wins over Evan Walsh with Jamal Gandor in third and Sean McClements in fourth position. Rory O'Shea would recover to fifth with Tony Stack sixth and Ian May seventh, and eighth, ninth and 10th there, as you saw, ended up being the likes of Lawrence De Sosa, John McDonald and Sean Hegarty making up that field. Gary Corcoran, Wingplay Chan, Robert Moore and the non-starting Martin McGonigal making up the 14 here. But race 2, a little bit shorter, just the 10 minutes to get it all sorted, which will actually feel like 12 as they go through, because it will be 4 laps that they'll have to figure it out between them and say, you know what, we did a 5-lap race there, or 6-lap race. Let's take a third of that off the books, see exactly what is capable to be found, Craig.
Yeah, and now they're going to have to see, can they make these moves quicker now? That's what we usually say when it comes to a 10-minute sprint. Don't think it's going to be like that right here. It might be another battle of attrition as we get ready to go green one more time.
Oh, yes, we do. This, the 5th race of the season. It is McCann on the front. Watch out for all those starts and who's going to make a good getaway here. It's decent from the front. De Sosa got an absolutely mega launch there from about the 5th row, 4th row of the grid, and he will fly up to about 5th, nearly 4th, side by side almost for the race lead then as they challenge into the opening corner. Everybody then managing the horseshoe quite nicely. Gandor in 3rd, May is up to 4th, McClements 5th, O'Shea in 6th, and De Sosa, despite the great start, got shuffled out on the outside. He's back in 7th place.
Yeah, back in 7th place, and also just a car going a little bit wide there. That's McClements, and McGonigal has gone around as well. They are trying to sort themselves out in the midfield, still side by side. De Sosa was getting pushed out even more, but he's side by side with Rory O'Shea. They're going to hit the snake side by side. Great little racing there. De Sosa gets by. That is something you wanted to see. He could not take it anymore after getting pushed out off that fantastic launch.
It was the likes of Wingplay Chan then and John McDonald who got turned around. Gary Corcoran had his own issue as McClements finds himself overtaken. Easy as that. Ian May is throwing everything he can at it in the John Players special. And now, on the brakes, it's going to be a case of, yeah, top 3 now, they have checked out.
They've checked out and they know what's happening behind them, and they can just relax for a lap. Maybe look for some moves later on, but you know what? I say that. There's Evan Walsh. I think he wants it. I think he's finally had enough. He's got the move done right away. Into turn 13 he goes. He takes it. Look out for Gandor. They almost come together, and they managed to keep it together. Actually, I think they did come together.
Oh, I think they came together and a bit more out there at that section of the circuit. Oh, it's a big hit. O'Shea in trouble, and that has brought everything to a standstill behind the top 5. Tony Stack caught up in it. Robert Moore again can't seem to find the light, and that is O'Shea again finding out. Oh, that's a horrible corner.
Yeah, that is the corner that has caught him out a couple of times. And O'Shea, I think he's got some damage. He's even struggling to take the spiral right now. You can see what that has caused for him. He has more issues there, and we talk about it. It is downhill on that hairpin, and then the track itself is not flat. It's almost as steep as the start-finish line at Brands Hatch, I would say, Jake.
Yeah, it is incredibly steep down in the middle, and it is a very, very tough section of road. Now here comes McClements heading to the hog pen. He's on the wrong side of the road and it's going to try the up and the under. It depends on the power on the exit. May is there and May want to get through and maybe might at this point. Heading to the horseshoe then start their second lap of 4 here in terms of this race, and it's a look left, it's a look right. Where do you want to cover? Inside covered by Gandor, but it's now open season under braking, and off the road goes McClements.
I think McClements got a little bit spooked there by what was happening there by May, and I think that cost him, and he just went into the corner too hot. Another victim of the horseshoe. Rory O'Shea is still out there. Obviously, he doesn't have damage at the moment. He's going to be fighting Chan there. What can he get out of this? Maybe he can look for a move, but he has not looked his normal self today. Into NASCAR he goes, and as cool as you like, I tell you what, That was pretty good.
That was pretty good. Ricochet now in the transfer for the position he wants, passing the Tokyo Drift Initial D Tofu car that's there. De Sosa in 4th position now, looking at Jamal Gandor and that podium, thinking that would be lovely at some point right around now if he can get his chops on that. Heading up to the old oak tree here, this double apex right slows every stage of the way. And I think this corner has been made a lot easier out there than what it used to be out there, really, Craig, that oak tree corner, because it was about line of sight. And that line of sight into the corner was so obscured when you used to drive here, when the oak tree was still there. It was one of the most incredibly difficult corners in American racing.
It was a horrible corner. You could see once they got rid of the oak tree, they were able to put a little bit of extra runoff there. As De Sosa was almost getting tapped in the back from May. They had that runoff there to get you the most speed. Even in a sim with the oak tree was there in the old days, you could still almost wish you had that runoff there. The runoff's very helpful. I just seen the leader go off though at the spiral, and I believe that is right. Yes, Evan Welsh going off at the spiral, and McCann is going to make this move, but it's role reversal from the first race, Jake. Nowhere to go for McCann when Welsh makes a mistake at the spiral.
Oh, and I tell you what, if you're going to keep making mistakes like that, you're going to be asking for trouble, because it's brought in everybody else. The track is so narrow on the Patriots layout. It's too wide at best through there. So if you drive middle of the road, you've got it covered. It just brings everyone else back in again.
Yeah, everyone's come back in. We've got 5 once again at the front. Top 5 separated by 2 seconds, but they're all within slipstream range of each other. There's the front 4, and Ian May's right behind them, but you'll just see him in this picture right there. And now, who's going to get the best run here? I'll tell you, you've got the best run ever. Welsh with a fantastic run. You may look for Gandor here. He's starting to close it up. De Sosa is going to be waiting and pouncing here. All he wants is one person to make a mistake, and he'll be on the podium.
He wants more than a podium. He wants W's out there, and the W he wants to get by is Walsh eventually, who pushes a little bit wide there through the horseshoe. That brings Peter McCann back into play, and suddenly you can throw a blanket over the top 4. Gandor holds off then. De Sosa was trying to push his way through, but everybody, I think, is being a little bit no after you out in the front of the field, and De Sosa was the one trying to be aggressive. Gandor takes a tap of McCann.
Yeah, De Sosa was the one that really wants to get going here. He's looking at it and going, hey, come on. Let's make a move. Let's pick it up. No one's doing it at the moment. I think there's a lot of defense there from Welsh. Maybe overcooking those tires a little bit, trying to cool them down. McCann having moments himself, and Gandor being the third man here, having no idea what's going on. He's the one getting caught out here a little bit with a little few mistakes there. Can he just keep the composure? Do you know what? All of a sudden, Welsh doesn't look quick. Has he got damage? Because all of a sudden, when we get to the top end of a straight, McCann is right there, and almost De Sosa around the outside, almost getting caught from May.
Wow, Ian May deciding that he wants the latest of late break spec to get himself into that section of road. Now you start thinking about, okay, every time you go through a section of road, where do you have to be careful? McCann pretty much sitting on the back here on Madison Avenue. They hit the brakes into turn 13 and they go through 1, 2, 3 and 4 all in a line. There is 1 lap to go after this. There goes De Sosa in the background. Big save. Full drifto through that section in the grass, and he's done so well just to hold on to it.
There were 4 ducks on the pond, and one of them decided, I'm getting out of here. And it wasn't De Sosa, it wasn't the way he wanted it, but he just caught that grass there again, taking too much throttle and just catching at the wrong moment. So now there are 3, and Ian May's catching up to them yet again. Are we going to have a little bit of after you, sir? Maybe, maybe not. They're going to be hitting the white flag in about a minute's time once they come out of the roller coaster, and it's going to be very crucial. I also see lap traffic up ahead. Could that cause a little bit of a pain in the later part of the final lap? We will have to wait and see. But all of a sudden, I'm just seeing the top 5 are basically all back together again.
They are, and they are actually bringing Sean Hegarty with them, so make it 6 at the front. Sean Hegarty started the last lap 5 seconds adrift as Gary Corcoran jumps into the pits with the black and orange mechanical flag for damage. Last lap then here of race number 2. Evan Walsh with control of it. It is McCann in second, and it is Gandor who is there in 3rd place and doing a great job. Hegarty with the fastest lap of the race, and round goes Gandor.
Taking too much speed, and he had to slow down because of cars coming by. Could not go anywhere, almost catching McClements there on the rejoin. He tried to fight that car as hard as he could, but he realized it was to no avail. He has to give the position and has to give that track position away, and all of a sudden there were just 2. It's Evan Walsh and it's Peter McCann as they hit to the snake one last time for this race. Who is going to get the best run out of the oak tree?
Who is going to get that run? Well, it's all about the run up to the oak tree first and foremost, because Walsh will be clawed down at a rate of knots. The classic design livery, Toyota Gazoo Racing, one of the most incredible racing brands out there that never gets enough credit for what it's done as a racing division for racing series around the world. On the brakes then at the oak tree, and Walsh is going to go around. He's going to go around. McCann is going to lead.
That's not what you wanted to see, and there's just one left. And Walsh is going to go down the order, and McCann is going to take the lead again. Walsh is going to go down all the way to 6th position. He's going to have this little fight right now with Haggerty. Is he going to be able to take the inside here? He doesn't have the speed, and he'll go down all the way. And it's not 6th, apologies. It is 5th place, and this now gives Pete McCann a nice little rest to the end of this race.
Well, we know that Sean Hegarty, it says on the side, go on, my son. He's got an absolute baller livery out there. He's trying to make the most of it. But this is going to be a real race for the front at this point. Peter McCann has proven that in the first race, he was perfect defensively. Here, he's just outlasted his opponents, forced the mistake out by just putting the pressure on, getting closer and closer, and then the rears decide, you know what, not gonna work. Streaks live on again, and Walsh around the outside, brilliantly done, exiting the Patriots layout to move himself up back again into 4th in the late stages in the dying embers. McCann through the roller coaster, now will dip down the hill, looking to the hog pen where it gets down and dirty on the final laps of races. It shall not happen this time. There's a new streak of you win the first, you win the second. Peter McCann to the line, wins race 2.
And as they all come through, Evan Walsh capitalizing on Sean Hegarty's mistake coming out of the Patriot course. He will take that position, that 4th place. But Rory O'Shea, I never thought a man would be so happy to lose 3 positions, because he will be taking the pole position. Now, last time I checked, wasn't he pole position for the first race? I think this could be a little bit of revenge, because hopefully this time he does not make a mistake on the start of the next race.
Peter McCann wins by 0.7 of a second over Ian May, who was closing late there. Lawrence de Sosa, despite the half spin, is going to end up with a podium. Evan Walsh finishes off then in 4th, with Sean Hegarty 5th, ahead of McClements in 6th and Jamal Gandor in 7th position. Rory O'Shea will get the invert, will start on the pole, just edging out Wing Fei Chan, whose initial D car is not going to find itself then on the front. John McDonald, in the end, would round out the top 10 overall as they have gone through and got those results. It is an absolute showcase as they've gone through. We got a couple of drivers looking for a chat. First and foremost, stood by with Craig King, it's Peter McCann.
Yeah, Peter McCann getting the double already tonight. But Peter, it looked a little bit tough out there in the second race until a little bit of luck went your way.
Yeah, guys, wasn't really expecting it. No practice really tonight, and yeah, delighted now with 2 wins. We'll see what we can do in the third race.
Yeah, I want to just talk about this track because I know a lot of people know VIR. They don't know this grand layout. Now, we know elevation changes are horrible sometimes when it comes to racing, but the elevation changes on that infield section that we're using for this track, just talk us through how difficult it is with the different shifts when you go up and down.
Big thing here with the GR86 is they're almost all unsighted. All those corners with the massive elevation changes, they're all unsighted. The quick left rights in the middle sector as well is massive weight shifting. We're getting massive oversteer. It's really, really hard to control it through that midsection. So anyone that's getting through there every lap is doing really well in my books.
So you started second and you got to the win. You started first, had to chase and got the win. You're going to be starting 8th in the feature race. We've seen overtaking is very tough around here, and even when you've been defending, it's been tough to get past you. Are you going to be looking to be aggressive at the start of this next race?
No, I'm going to sit back for a few laps and see can I get up near a podium. I'm not expecting another win, but we'll see what comes.
Well, you've heard it there. Peter McCann is going to be looking very safe. Peter, we wish you the best of luck. Go well in the final race of the night, and hopefully we look forward to hearing from you later on in the evening.
Thanks, guys.
That was Peter McCann. Jake, I believe you've come down. You may have found somebody to talk to. Is that Lawrence de Sosa you're with?
It might be. I think it is. Lawrence, 10th in qualifying probably wasn't on the docket for you in terms of what you were looking for, but talk us through 2 races for you which have got you right into the thick of the action.
I started doing practice earlier, like about 15 minutes before the race. Now, I had done some laps last night, and the guys were like 2 or 3 seconds a lap quicker than I am. Now, it's a long lap, but it worked out in the end. Yeah, the first race was a bit of a disaster. I had a couple of off tracks, and then P8, I think I started in race 2 and made it up to podium. Just kept trying to get those lap times in, and a couple of aggressive overtakes, still trying to be, aggressive without being unfair. And it's going quite well.
Well, it's going well for you. Talk us through your half spin at the 13th corner, the most aptly named corner out there in all of motorsport, because it's that sort of corner where you're looking for the entry, it tightens up through the middle of the corner, and then it just falls away on the exit, and you're just looking at it, and it's like, it couldn't be any worse of a corner to try and get your head around.
Yeah, was that the one where a car spun in front of me as well?
I assume it would be, yes.
Yeah, so a car started losing it in front of me, and I knew they were going to go way out onto the left side of the track. So I adjusted my line to be slightly wider, so I'd be narrower on the exit where they were ultimately going to end up. And sure enough, that sounded great in my head. And then when I tried to execute it, I messed it up and I spun.
Well, sometimes it happens, and you're just going to have to be a little bit alert to those sorts of things. Let's talk, though, the next race for you, and that race number 3. You're going to be starting from 6th position. You've already gained 5 places in a race from 8th to 3rd. You're now going to have to go from 6th and gain 5 places again. Do you think you can get the job done?
I think I can get a good start. Like a lot of people always say, upgrading your sim racing hardware won't make you faster. Like pedals make you more consistent and stuff. There's one massive exception to the rule, and that is clutch paddles. If you have clutch paddles on your steering wheel, you can get amazing standing starts. So keep an eye on my start in race 3.
Well, you heard it here. Clutch paddles are going to get it done, just like about every single sim racing gear YouTuber managed to do to review the mid-ranged wheel that came out. I don't know, I drive controller. Floor is yours, Lawrence. Anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for the support. Last week we spoke about the fundraiser that we were doing. That's approaching $3,000 for Kaylee, who's a local racing driver. She's 19 years old. That GoFundMe is at $3,000. Her PC is nearly built. We've got loads of hardware lined up for her. A company has reached out, giving her FIA certified gloves with the Potato Nation, which is my community logo on them. So it'll have her logo and our logo as a kind of a memorial of all this happening. So yeah, that's just an awesome feel-good story for the sim racing community. And thanks you guys for giving me the airtime for that as well last week, because people did see it on your stream.
Well, the pleasure is, of course, ours. Lawrence de Sosa, for a good cause, will be looking for 5 more places then in this race, as he managed to end up with a 3rd in race number 2. But Craig, we now jump forward to the main event, race number 3. And a big run now has to be there and has to be square because we are in the 20-minute feature. This is the Enduro.
This is the Enduro on the endurance track, as I like to call it. Anything that's over 2 minutes, I call an endurance track, basically. And this is what it feels like. So we're going to see similar racing here, I feel. Maybe look for the first lap for people to pick up those that go a little bit askew. Just remember, some of the drivers made up a lot of positions on that first lap there on the first race. Rory O'Shea, though, will be taking the pole position with M. Gandor in P2. And then Sean McClements will take third. And Sean Hegarty will be in fourth. Evan Walsh will be fifth, and Lawrence De Sosa will be sixth. We've heard what he's going to be doing. All eyes on him. Ian May seventh. Peter McCann will be eighth. And then we get to those that did not get reversed. Chan Wei Feng will be ninth. John McDonald 10th. As we head to green.
We're off. Just like that. And they're going to grid quickly because there's only 14. Look at that. Thread the middle, Evan Walsh. He's going to jump through everybody at this stage. He might have eyes on second here. That's going to have to be covered by Gandor on the inside, and it is. De Sosa has also got off to a really good start then. Down to just 38 degrees, then track temperature. It is starting to cool off. There is the Father Ted car of Sean Hegarty out there. No, Father, I'm still trying to find overtakes to find positions there. Ian May is there on the outside, having to try and cover it off. McCann's gone off to a pretty decent start as well. And look at this. Walsh now trying to get through on Gandor for position through the left hook, and then the subsequent right hook is covered off.
It's beautiful. Haggerty not being good on his lucky horse right now, but all of a sudden at the front of the field, Evan Walsh is using that to all his luck. Rory O'Shea is gone, and these guys are going to have to work together instead of battling. But we know that they're looking for points, some of these drivers. De Sosa is looking. Gandor's looking to defend. What are we going to be seeing at this start of this race? A very clean start out there.
Well, at this point in time, Walsh has been the only driver, really, who could... Oh, as he actually gets wide there through the southern bend to get past at this stage. Jamal Gandalf, you shall not pass him at this moment in time as they go through the right and look to try and really attack through. This is where everyone's starting to use the circuit round in the background. That's no good. That's Tony Stack.
Tony Stack, I believe he just got a little bit too hot on the throttle and just caught the gravel there, and that is going to happen sometimes. And now at the front, you start to see drivers looking to make some moves. De Sosa with that. There's not a gap there. There's not a gap there, and he manages to keep it under control. We heard he made a couple mistakes when he had to follow cars last time. Keeping it nice and clean. All of a sudden, these three are battling, and that allows Walsh to start pulling away. And now Walsh is seeing O'Shea. And he's telling Rory right now, you can't get away that easily. And all of a sudden, the ebbs and flows of this long track are starting to show their way.
And because it's a long track and you get all these corners and these sequences that go back to back to back, it is going to be so easy to make one small mistake. You only have to be out of position by a tyre width around here, Craig, and that's it. Your entire run is compromised.
Yeah, we saw what happened to Stack there, Tony Stack having a mistake, and he went around, and other drivers have made this at the same time at the horseshoe. Other drivers have made it out of a corner. Surprise, and I'm going to knock on wood right now, no one's made a mistake at the hog pin yet so far this race. That was the one place we talked about was danger, but right now Robert Moore, he's trying to battle on here. The top six are separated by 4 seconds. It does not feel like it as they're all in a single file.
They are, which means that overtaking is going to be a bit of a process then as they charge along this front stretch, ever curling over to the right as they now aim for the opening corner, the horseshoe. Out here on track, they all hit their braking markers, and we talked about it. It's line of sight, which makes it difficult because you've got that huge steep nose on this car. You sat very high up in the machinery.
Yeah, and you just also have the issue that there's not a lot of braking points here on this track, or braking markers, sorry, as McClements. He is trying to make a recovery after losing 9 positions at the start of this race. He gets past one car, and now he's got about a few more to get by at the end of this race, but it's early days, and look at that traffic there. That is traffic you've got to get by if you want to get to the front. But where do you look? Where do you go? It just narrows up when you get to the S's.
Backwards if you're Evan Walsh. He made a mistake at the horseshoe, dropped the place to Jamal Gandor. That opens up the door now for Lawrence de Sosua. Start thinking about Podiumsville. Big slide through there, and he saves it. And somehow McCann jumbles his way on through. That could have been so much worse than what it was.
How? How did he save that? I saw him go on the grass and before he hit the south bend, and I just thought braking there, he's a goner. And somehow he managed to keep that car under control. We've seen drivers fight the car tonight, and they've been unsuccessful. Evan there, with what could be one of the most important saves this early in the season, because think of the points he's just saved. Yes, he's lost P2. Yes, he's down to P5 again, but at least he's not at the back of the field. He's still got a nice point tool.
He does. Robert Moore there in the 8th place is going to be trying to get through here. Ian May jump up into 7th if at all possible. Not an easy challenge, not by any stretch of the imagination, but he's still going to have to work hard for it. Big kick from Moore over the inside curve, and Sean Hegarty with eyes now looking forward. He wants a piece of Peter McCann, or he's had a piece, or he's trying to get to Evan Walsh, who has now lost the place to Peter McCann. Now you start thinking about every place mattering here. Every point gets added up at the end of this season. They do have the one drop round to work with, but look at this from McCann. He's got De Sosa in the sights here to the roller coaster, and he gets well out of the way.
And it blocked everybody and bunched everybody up. He thought he had a run there, but it is such a blind corner, and he's going to try and do this around the hog pen, and he's done that around the hog pen, and he's managed to keep De Sosa almost touching Evan Walsh there, and Walsh have to go for a ride, and they're going to try and squeeze up a free, and there's more chaos in the backfield.
Oh, there he goes. That there is not what's wanted. Ian May giving Robert Moore a huge shove out wide. Robert Moore has had no luck tonight. If he had luck, it'd be bad luck, and he's very unfortunate about it. Into the opening corner. Look at how they go. Lawrence de Sosa now behind the Potato Nation teammate, technically there, of John McDonald.
And they're still battling, and they're still bunching each other up, and that allows McCann to get out of there. He's now got a 3-second lead over this pack, and that also means the rest of the drivers, Gandor and O'Shea, they're starting to pull away as we keep watching this battle right here. Haggerty there, trying to do what he can. He's just watching McCann, he's watching Walsh, he's just trying to hope there's going to be more moments here. But a lot of drivers trying to make those moves into the horseshoe, Jake. They have overcooked it on the brakes so many times. I'm surprised they haven't seen more drivers go off.
No, I'm surprised as well. And this opens McClements' chance then to try and get this place, and will manage it then on Lawrence de Sosa. Easy as that. It's getting pretty dicey up in front as well. Around Walsh here and McCann. The podium very much on at this moment in time, with Walsh now through, and there's a little look from Ian May. It's not quite making it happen here with 12 minutes and 44 seconds remaining on the clock. So there's still that time where you can get those moves, you can make those overtakes. But Walsh now looking for a run here, but he's going to look behind and see Hegarty. He's going to look in front and see McCann. And if you're going to try and find an overtake, this has been where the race has been all night between those two drivers, 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, you start to see they're trying new things on each other to see if they can just make a mistake. And McCann sees Walsh looking for the fake, did not wait, and he is flashing. But I'm not sure what he's doing. Down into the spiral they go again. Look how close he's getting right now. This could be one of the only places at the middle part of the track that could be an overtake. Unable to make it. Evan Walsh just having that small mistake and he comes out turn 16.
Look, and you have to remember as well here, Craig, they can't attack too hard on the steering angle through these corners, otherwise they're stuck with the traction control.
Yeah, and that's also a problem here because the traction control will kick in, and these cars also, they don't like it. If you hit the curves as well a bit too hard, you can catch this car in a roll. We saw that last week at Willow Springs with one of the drivers, so they've got to be careful, not just with the TC, but just making sure they keep it steady on the curves, and that could be one of the reasons why Evan has decided to just take it a little bit easier. Haggerty looks like he wants to make a move, trying to spook out Walsh, not going to work, but if they come out the hog pen, all of a sudden, Walsh is on the back foot.
And there is where Evan Walsh suddenly realises just how much in a dire strait he's in. Hegarty will still have to go the long way around on this straight. Go on, my son, trying to get this one done on the outside. Is there going to be a chance then? Under the brakes, and John McDonald there goes Steadward, Edward. That was close, and it's not quite done yet on the horseshoes, on the wrong side of the road here for the flick left, which leads to the NASCAR bend, and as such has to fall back into rank and file.
Yeah, I think he got a little bit too hot there, just like McCann going a little bit hot there. Just those who are having to go into the pit, I believe that was for a meatball flag that he's had to go and take his repair. No?
No, it's not. A direct penalty, which would have been for not serving the slowdown.
Wow, and that has got to hurt, and he is straight in and out he goes.
15 incidents already.
There's no way that's incidents already. But we have to have a look.
Be.
Whatever it is a penalty for De Souza. He's out of the equation right now.
He is completely out of the equation. And let's not forget that it only takes a small tap to pick up the 4X incident points that are there with the iRacing no-fault contact system. In a massive group like this, you can pick up penalty points in a heartbeat by blinking the wrong way at someone.
And not only that, you've got to think, we've talked about the number of times the cars have bunched up and taps. Some of those taps could be 0Xs, they could be hard enough to be 4Xs, maybe even 2Xs. Right now, can Evan Walsh do anything? A little bit of touching there, that would be a 0X. He decides against it, tries to drift out the last moment. Sean Haggerty in behind him almost had a moment as well. Again, drivers going a little bit hot on the brakes, trying to look for a move. It is so hard to look for it. Just look at the face of that car. I have to look at the back every time with Haggerty. That's not a face you want to be seeing in your rearview mirror if you're Evan Walsh right now.
Well, distraction tactics is a very interesting way to try and get your moves and to try and get your overtakes done. I had a Cadillac that was something very similar in the distracting tactics category. I didn't win that race. But still, down through the S's here, or S's 2, or actually S's 3, I guess I'll call it through here, as they now look to rush forward off of the Patriot section of the track, trying to just carry as much speed left and right, and someone's gone far too far right through there, and that is McClement, who ends up pushing off the road, or not necessarily McClements, but Ian May, who went off, which allowed McClements to go through. Every place matters. Now they've hit the roller coaster and head towards the hog pen.
Yeah, points mean prizes, and just a simple position change could be effective here. Who gets the good run here? Haggerty is going to be very close to Evan Walsh this time, and Walsh will have to go on the defense. He will have to hope McCann gives him a little bit of a toe, and that's what he's doing. McCann to the inside line there. That means Walsh is going to go into the inside, and can Sean go for this one more time around the outside? I don't think he is. I think he's going to look for an over-under. In he goes. He's trying to bait out Evan Walsh, and he's done a great job, but that inside just gets cut off from Walsh. Good little battle by these two.
It's an over and out, I guess, at that point. No chance there of that move being done, but every corner now, as we see Robert Moore down the inside of Ian May, they're going to make contact once, going to make contact twice, and for the first time, Robert Moore gets to shift someone out the way.
Yeah, Robert Moore definitely shaken and not stirred that time by. He manages to keep on going, but unfortunately for May, he's going to be losing a few places on the track there. Evan Walsh still looking, still hunting. We haven't had to look at the front because Rory O'Shea has just absolutely gone out of it, as is Gandor. These three are still battling for that final podium spot. And the points difference, it's almost a 5-point swing here. From this third down to fifth, it's going to be crucial when it comes to the moves, and Sean is going for a very ambitious fake dive there. Not sure I'd be doing that at the Oak Tree.
Well, I think it was a case of trying to be opportunistic there, because it was all about how do you go out and attack. It was a case where running wide through the South Bend, which has been the bogey corner of Evan Walsh all night, that's the place where if he runs wide, you want to go and attack him. You want to say, no, I can make that move, and I can make that move comfortably. In they go to the right here. No real opportunities to make that pass, because Walsh is good through the Patriot section. And suddenly, it's a case of now Hegarty looking behind. McDonald's and McClements, they're still there.
Yeah, they're still there, but if these two start to have a little bit of fighting at the front of this pack, it'd be another 5-car pack here, and that's what could be happening. But Haggerty having more mistakes around turn 16. That's a corner that has caught a few people out tonight. You can see why. All of a sudden, he's definitely on the back foot. There's McDonald, there's McClement. They're right there. Haggerty is going to have to hope that McCann and Walsh start getting together. Otherwise, I don't think he's going to be seeing the back of their cars very soon.
Well, this is where John McDonald, I think, is having the race of his career of RTA so far. In 6th position, he is throwing everything that the Potato Nation car has to throw at it. And McClement, who is looking here, there and everywhere to try and make this pass in substitution for Sean here tonight, is doing a great job, is Dylan. And now here comes the chance then. Power off of the exits, going to try and work away to the inside. They're going to give enough room. And you have to tango with drivers on a straight, because you could just absolutely not give the room and then both have an accident. You can't have two drivers who both want exactly the same piece of real estate. That's where tears happens.
Yeah, this could be the penultimate lap, but you've got to just make sure you're still in it to win a better position. Not in it to win it, of course, because they can't win, but now McClement doing what he can. He can get past that car. He sees McDonald behind. He's got to go eyes forward. Haggerty's had a moment there. He's gone a little bit wide out of the left hook, and I think he may have been hit with a left hook himself, because that car decided it wanted to go right.
Do not count out the race for 2nd position right now. That gap across the line was 2 seconds, and McCann took a full second out of Jamal Gandor on that last lap. Both he and Evan Walsh could get a 2nd place finish out of this one, and Gandor has got to put his best driving boots forward and not look behind him, as tempting as it is to do so.
Do you know what? I reckon Gandor may be looking at fuel here. Does he think they might go an extra lap? They won't go an extra lap, but you just never know when it comes to these races. There's 4 minutes left in the race. Definitely going to be one more lap after this. But all of a sudden, look at that gap. It is shrinking. It looks closer on this camera than it is, but that gap is only 2 seconds. And we've seen what it could be with the lap times last time. All of a sudden, Walsh and McCann, it feels like they're working together to get up to the front back of Gandor, and there goes Haggerty.
Yeah, and they're off the road. That's a real shame for Sean Haggerty. He went on a bit too much, my son, there, so he will now have to try and reel himself back in. That going through is Robert Moore, who will gain a position, so another one in the back pocket then to go with. So he now drops back to 8th. McCann still there in 3rd. Might have to fight here for this final spot on the podium with Evan Walsh, who he's become all too intimate with over the course of the first 2 races. And there goes McClement.
McClement's around, and he's going to be losing out some positions down. What a great recovery drive this was from McClement, and all of a sudden it has gone backwards for him. He loses a couple positions. He will get a battle with Haggerty, who's also had his own moments, but this could be the key battle here. They have lost time to Gandor. Can they catch up to it as they start what I believe will be white flag? It is white flag, and this could be all or nothing now. Evan Walsh, do you want that podium? How bad do you want that podium? Because you're going to have to work for it.
Every point is going to be there for this podium place. McCann holding the cards at this point here in Virginia into the opening corner, about as close as you could possibly get it between those two, and now looking to drive off towards the big NASCAR bend of turn 2, and here the next flick left. Now you've got to figure out where do you want to try and open out this overtake. Through the left hook, not a traditional place, gets right up underneath. All about drive out to this right hander if you want to make it up through the S's, but there is no drive there. The car length falls back again, and now it's about patience up the hill.
About patience and how close do you want to be as you get to the South Bend. That is the difference maker here, because if you can get close at South Bend, that gives you a really nice opportunity to set yourself up on the exit of the oak tree. And look how close Walsh is going. Into the blind South Bend they go. Later on the braking from Walsh, is that going to hinder him? It is not. He is right on the bumper of McCann, and he just has a little bit of a back here. Just backs himself up a bit. Can he get the run? No, he's tapped that curb. I think he's just cost himself there.
That might have been it. That might have been the moment up at the oak tree. There is Rory O'Shea. He's hated this next corner. Safi, what's your favourite corner? It's this one. It's Bitch Corner here through this right. Now trying to get that drive off through. He's got that fantastically. 7.5 to the good. He is at this point. You can't argue with the way that he's been driving it. Down through the spiral for the final time in this race. The long left-hander to try and make everything all good. This for Rory O'Shea will be a bit of relief after starting at the fastest time overall. The opportunity to just break away from everybody else. You couldn't have asked for much better for him in terms of his recovery in the night. He's had himself the ghosts of Christmas past, present and future in terms of races, and now I'd say he's reformed like Ebenezer Scrooge, as he will now hit the roller coaster for the final time tonight here on the Global SimRacing Channel, dipping down the hill, heading towards the hog pen, and he will do so at a canter compared to everybody else. I tell you what, Rory O'Shea, this will G up your season. He'll come to the line and he will win race 6 overall of this championship.
And we've still got some battling behind. Evan Walsh caught up to the back of McCann, but a little bit of overdriving through the hog pen will cost him. So McCann will finish on the podium and Walsh will take that P4. More battles going as well with McDonald and Moore. They're going to be coming to the line. Is there going to be a last-minute hurrah there? Can Moore take this? He's not going to. Meanwhile, behind, Ian May makes 2 positions up on the last lap. He will get a P7, and Sean Haggerty, what could have been, he will finish in 8th.
And that then is going to be them going through. There is the Tokyo Drift car, the brilliant Tofu machine, the Togue driver out there, of course, of Chan Wing Fei. He's going to be way down the order there in 11th. Just the last driver to keep a hold on is Lawrence de Sosa, who had the penalty very early on and will be the last finisher on the leading lap then here in terms of this race. And he will make that run over to the line in the reduced field running that we've had here today. We're going to step aside for just one moment. We'll be back with post-race coverage after this here from the Virginia International Speedway, your RTA Virtual Motorsport GR86 Series. That's what we call comfortable out there in terms of a race result to finish off the race here at VIR. It's just round 2 of 8, so a quarter of the season now done. Rory O'Shea picks it up by 9 seconds in the end over Jamal Gandor, with Peter McCann ending up in 3rd position. Evan Walsh would end up 4th ahead of John McDonald 5th, and Robert Moore in that 6th place, having a rough night, all things considered, Ian May and Sean Hegarty would be 7th and 8th, with the incumbent of Sean McClements, Dylan McClements, there finishing 9th, and Tony Stack rounding the top 10 overall.
And just quickly, with the rest of the field, Chan Wayne Feng will finish in 11th. Laurent de Sosa had that penalty, will finish 12th. Gary Cochran was a lap down after a couple incidents there, so he will finish 13th. And Martin McGonigal did not see the green flag.
No, he didn't see any green flag out there today. His troubles were very much put into play. We are going to have drivers, though, here for interviews. First and foremost, joining Craig King. He's your race winner there in in race number 3, I should say, and that was Rory O'Shea.
Yeah, Rory O'Shea. It's not been the best of nights for you. Started pole position for the first race, finished 5th. You started 5th in the second race, got to the 8th, but that reverse pole meant you started first, you finished first. Did it feel to you that you were getting the grips of the track at the end of the night? Because it looked like you were struggling early on.
Like, in terms of pace, I knew I was there all along. Like, I think in practice I was something like half a second quicker than anyone else. It was just racing wheel to wheel against other cars. I was struggling. I was getting a really, really bad start, and I think that was just what I was struggling with.
Yeah, I was asking earlier, I think it was Peter McCann, I was asking earlier about the difference of this track with the elevation changes. Was that something, it felt to me like the elevation changes and just that general consensus of losing the car there and with the blind spots. Does the blind spots on this car hinder you a lot on this track?
I think so, yeah. Like, you'd be going on the exit of a corner and you'd think you'd have loads of track left, and next minute you're in the grass, like what happened to me twice. So, like, it's a really difficult combination to get right, really, especially when you're so close with other cars.
So you've got a victory, you've got a crucial victory tonight, and of course you still got some decent points in the first race as well. So now we look forward to next week, which is going to be, we've gone from one extreme to the other. It's Lime Rock. What are you expecting out of Lime Rock? Because, as I always joke, it's only 4 corners.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping it's going to be good. I know I need to get probably back on track, because I'm sure I have, the capability of winning the championship. So I just want to, get a good points off and not make any mistakes.
Well, Rory, you are the winner of the feature race tonight, so the floor is all yours for any shout-outs you'd like to give.
I just want to shout out to my team, High Pre SimRace City, and the sponsor SimRace City, and then all the guys, Pix, John, Tom, and everyone else.
Well, Rory, well done on that final race. We look forward to seeing you next week at Lime Rock there. That is Rory O'Shea, Jake, the winner of the feature race tonight and our fastest driver of the night.
Absolutely, certainly did a really good job in terms of his pace. Someone else who did, though, Jamal Gandor, who joins us right now. A 3rd and a 2nd, Jamal, over the course of tonight's proceedings. You have to be really happy with where the pace is coming from in your Toyota.
I'm so happy with the pace, and I'm so happy with the results of the night. It's been a long time racing with these guys at RTA, so and not having the results, but tonight I showed that I can do something.
Well, you did more than something. You put the pressure on for a lot of drivers out there in the field here tonight. So for you, in terms of what that process has been here at VIR, what was it about this circuit that made it click for you around driving this track?
To tell you the truth, I'm more at ease with the GR86 than Formula cars that we've been racing in a series with RTA. And to tell you the truth, this track is notoriously difficult. So unless you are patient with your inputs, you cannot get a perfect lap time. And in here, the lap is too long, so it is what it is. So just keep your head down, put your and do your marks. That's it.
Well, in some ways it's going to be the same. In some ways it's going to be very different, because we head up through a couple of states. We're heading to Lime Rock Park and the classic layout of Lime Rock Park. So for you, a track which pretty much every sim racer should know, has it memorized in the back of the hand. Lime Rock Park, how's it going to feel for you?
Well, to tell you the truth, I'm terrified of that jump in Lime Rock. We see how it goes, but that's okay. Lime Rock is a short track and requires so much momentum. So looking forward for it.
Well, the floor is yours, Jamal, for you and, of course, your team at Simsa Esports. Who gets it done for you?
I would like to thank the team who's believed in me. So since the beginning, I'm a co-founder of Simsa Esport, and I'm a senior considered there. But everything is fine and cool. So hope I can bring out so many more podiums for them.
Hopefully, we'll get to see that from you. Jamal Gandor there joining us, picking up 2 podiums here tonight here at VIR. Last but definitely not least is the driver who picked up 3 podiums over the course of racing tonight. He joined us earlier on. He'll join us again. Craig King, you've got a chance to talk to Peter McCann once more.
Yep, I got to talk to Peter, and I've got to ask, Mr. I was going to take it easy at the start there. You made up 3 positions on before you hit the first corner there. What was going on that start and that last race?
Craig, I feel like I've got the start of these cars down really, really well, and it just so happened that a couple of the guys up front kind of backed themselves up, and I just seen the gap and went for it. I don't know who it was, but yeah, it worked out. I don't know. We always say that though. We're going to take it easy, and then when we all see red at the start, it works out or it doesn't.
Yeah, it's one of those that you say, let's take it easy, and all of a sudden it just goes chaotic. But it looked to me like you were just having a little bit of a nice little battle yet again with Evan Walsh. And it did show that, once again, this track is just so difficult for overtaking. What was the difference out there for you in holding on to Evan? Was it just making him try and make the mistakes?
Yeah, it's very, very hard to pass. Just as the draft is starting to make the difference, we're into the next corner. So as strong as it is, it's no good to us here. It's just about hoping that he breaks a little early, or there's some little mistake there to try and make the pass. I couldn't catch Jamal. I think it was Jamal's first podium, by the way, this week, so I want to congratulate him. And Rory was on another level. We're lucky he had problems in the first 2 races, or it would have been a clean sweep tonight, I imagine.
Could say, though, you're having a nice calm drive. That it looked like you were just here for the safety rating tonight, Peter. That's what it felt like. But safety rating here with all the corners. Next week it's Lime Rock. There'll be no safety rating. What are you looking forward to with Lime Rock next week?
I love Lime Rock. I can't actually remember if it has the chicanes or not. I'm assuming the guys are running the chicanes, so it'll be a good technical one if it is, or if it's not, it's just going to be the same as here, I suppose. Really, it's just going to be drafting and breaking into T1, trying to pass in T1.
Yeah, I'm looking at the calendar, and I hate to burst your bubble. It's going to be no chicanes for next week, so it's going to be a very tight day. But of course, that's another position for you. 2 wins, a podium. You feel pretty happy at the top of the table, surely.
Yeah, I know with Sean McGoldrick this week, and he really had the pace last week. I knew this was the week to try and get as many points as I could, so I'm happy with what I managed to do. Hopefully it serves me well later on in the championship.
Well, let's hope that this could be the week that could seal the championship with all the drop rounds. Peter, it's been great seeing you race and great talking to you. We look forward to seeing you next week at Lime Rock, but until then, have a good rest of your evening.
Thanks a million, guys.
And that was Peter McCann, 2 wins and a P3, Jake. And that looks like it will wrap it up for the evening.
I think it will. I think he'll be very happy with the points all that he got there, did Peter McCann. I'm sure there'll be a number of sharks circling when we head off in 1 week's time to Lime Rock Park. I want to give a massive thanks to everyone who has helped contribute to this show today, from everyone who's been alongside me in the commentary booth, from Craig, Daniel, and from Dougie. You can always catch the Global SimRacing Channel on our YouTube. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, as well as all of the most amazing products that are here that have got it done for us. Special shout out to June Lalonde. Her music is incredible. You can catch that on Bandcamp to make sure that you are listening to more incredible music. Of course, all of our broadcasts will be cycling across on your screen, and it is a very, very important lot of racing that will go through and what will come along over the course of July coming up. Grand Prix Legends heading to the Australian racehorse circuit of Sandown. that is the next one on the calendar. In terms of where we're next, it is going to be Independence Day. We jump into next. It's 4th of July, and it will be Lime Rock Park Classic. You couldn't ask for a better combination on the most important American day of them all. But for an Irish series, RTA Virtual Motorsport, and a GR86 series that it is overall, it's been an incredible showcase from the likes of O'Shea up at the front. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we will see you at Lime Rock Park.
Yeah.